Well, hello, and this will be another episode of The Circle, and I'm going to stop uh, stating what number it is. It's not important. One of the things that I have learned in my life is that sometimes the student needs a teacher, and sometimes the teacher needs to be the student. And I'm really tired, and it's really late right now, so I may not get my words out right. So just a forewarning. Hopefully this video will come out. One of the things that I wanted to do before I went to bed tonight is I have been listening to Gangaji's Diamond in Your Pocket. I have it in an audio book format. And she had a little assignment, and she teaches that to ask yourself, what do I really want? And so I just spent the last hour, and I am physically fighting a cold or something, so I'm very tired, been having trouble concentrating. But I wanted to do this, and I spent time going through it and writing things down. And I got down to the bottom, and I wanted to punch myself in the face. Even though I love and accept myself as I am. But I got down to the bottom, and my fear was that I am afraid that I will never have the life I want for myself. And so since I knew what I didn't want, it became pretty easy to figure out what I did want. I want the absolute best life for me. And then if you drill down even further with that, well, what does that mean? That I want to be happy. And that is, what's the word for it? I don't know. I can't remember the word for it, but that's maybe an affliction of, I'd say, 99.99.999 or whatever it is % of the population. Don't bother trying to do the math. Anyway, the word that I'm trying to think of that won't come into my mind right now certainly applies. It's just retarded. That I have to be afflicted. I mean, I can't want something simple like a red rose. You know, for example, I have to want what everybody else in the entire planet wants, which means that now I have to figure out how to deal with this because this is an affliction. How do I explain that? Happiness can't be found by seeking it. I know intellectually the truth about this. I may not know everything about it, but I know intellectually that happiness cannot be found searching for it, and that seeking to be happy, you're never going to get it. Happiness isn't found in having money in and of itself. They do say money can't buy happiness, but that's not 100% true. I'm not going to try to explain that right now, but happiness is something that's supposed to come to you, and I don't know exactly how it works, but I've kind of thought of it as it comes to you in the natural flow of your life. Flowing your best life's course, it comes to you. And I don't know how to explain what I mean by that very well, but happiness comes from more flowing, no attachment, no aversion, than it comes from resistance, from seeking. Happiness cannot be based on your circumstances because your circumstances can change. If you are happy because you have a wife and children, then what will happen if your wife and children are taken from you? Either they leave, they're killed, disease strikes, or you have to leave, or you're killed and you're not with them anymore, then how could you be happy? If you're happy because you have lots of money, you're Donald Trump in wealth almost, or maybe you're close and that's your role model and that's what you're trying to go for. And you can buy anything you want pretty much. Maybe you own your own island. Well, that's wonderful. Now what happens if somebody comes and takes away your island, or somebody comes and takes away your money and leaves you with nothing? What happens if you decide to do, because you think you can do anything you want because you have this money, you do something that violates the law, and the gears of justice, which are very large and rotate very slowly, finally come back around and get you? And so you have to flee to some godforsaken country with no extradition policy to be able to survive. And you don't have any more money because they seized all your accounts. So how can you be happy if you don't have your money anymore? It cannot come as of your circumstances, and it cannot come, well, that's just basically the best way to put it. You can't buy happiness. You can't seek happiness and expect to find that it doesn't come to you in your circumstances. So I need help. I'm going to be the student now, and I'm going to leave this video open to comments and video responses and whatever you want to do. I need help figuring out how to resolve this, because this, as I just said a little bit ago, is an affliction. Wanting to be happy, having all these things which are back here that I believe are going to bring me happiness, it taints being able to get those things, because then I'm happy because of my circumstances. And what did I just say? You know, if your circumstances change, your happiness goes. But how can I be happy outside of my circumstances? And let me explain that. Right now I'm talking to you in this video. I'm living in what I call my grandmother's attic. It's really the second floor of the house. It's this little tiny bedroom where I spend most of my life, in this property that's 2 and some miles away from town, in a Christian town when I'm not a Christian anymore, so I have no social outlet. I have a bicycle, that's the best I can do to go anywhere. I have no money, except maybe what I can get in canned money and stuff of that nature, but I don't have any kind of real finances and no real way to get money. There's not much opportunity for work. I did apply at the one job there was, and it was at a little burger joint. And you're obviously not going to buy your own house and do anything with your life working at a burger joint. And anybody that thinks that you can, you're an idiot. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude to you, but you're not going to get anywhere doing that. The way that money, all the money you need to pay for a house and bills and everything else, you can barely make it nowadays with a good job, much less flipping burgers for minimum wage. So how do I look at my circumstances in my life and be happy? Because that's impossible. I don't have anybody to go out on a date with. I am alone. I don't have anybody to share my life with. How in the world can I possibly look at these circumstances, which are the exact opposite of everything I wrote back here? And on top of that, living with my parents and my grandmother who are Christians, and my parents wanting to know why I'm not a Christian anymore, and I got to figure out how to explain that to them without hurting them and without causing them to doubt their faith, because nobody has a right to do that, in my opinion. So I have to put up with that stress, and of course I'm always involved driving around helping them go to church, and I'm helping a lady right now that works in the church, so I'm around Christian people, but that belief system is not mine anymore, and I choose a different belief system. How am I supposed to do that? What am I supposed to do? How can I look around at my circumstances and be content and be happy independent of my circumstances? Because that's what you have to be. You have to find happiness that's independent of your circumstances. And how do I do that in my situation? I don't know. And I could certainly use some direction. So, teacher is now becoming student. I am opening this video to comments, and maybe video comments if you're up to it. I would like somebody to help me open my eyes and figure out how I'm supposed to overcome this affliction and allow and be accepting and open to happiness flowing naturally into my life in circumstances, whatever they might be. It would be nice to be happy, poor, broke, rich, with somebody, without somebody. It would be nice to find happiness in whatever situation that my life presents. But I don't know if that's entirely possible. I know that a lot of the spiritual teachers have these esoteric kind of ways of trying to get you to think about stuff and to get to a point where you can do that, and my mind is just over my head. It does, you would think listening to some of my other videos that I have a lot of esoteric maybe knowledge, but there's some things that's even beyond my ability of understanding right now. And that's another thing, I don't have a teacher. I mean, It would be nice to have a teacher in my life, but they say that when the student's ready, the teacher will come, but there is no teacher here. And the closest teacher I might find is important, and there ain't no way in heck I'm going to try and bike over there, so I don't know. But I could use some help. I went to the other side of it and figured out where I've been looking for it through all the learning and the books and the teachings that I've been going through. And then what do I believe obstructs me from it? I just got through saying that, current life circumstances. So, just like everybody else on the planet pretty much, I'm seeking happiness. But I'm not seeking happiness through circumstances. I'm seeking happiness independent of circumstances. I want to learn to be happy where I am, healthy, sick, stabbed in the chest, bleeding to death, dying, or wealthy with a wife and kids and a house I built myself and all the other things that I've listed here for my ideal reality. If you have any comments, any ideas, anything at all you want to share with me to help me in my understanding, I would be very appreciated. Namaste.